Good afternoon. My name is Verna, and I'm a member of the Natural Care Team here at Mount St. Francis Center. We welcome all of you who are gathered here in Clare House Chapel, those watching in the in-house system, as well as Sister Verna's family and friends who are joining us via live stream. During Sister Verna's full life of 98 years, she has been surrounded by love by her large, close-knit family, by this community of Franciscan sisters, and by so many who cared for her during this time at Clare House. She shared that love in so many ways, through teaching, through singing, through sewing clothes for the poor, through common venture experiences, and through her travels with Elder Hostel. She enjoyed having a good time by playing cards and by sharing her lovely soprano voice at sing-alongs, singing every song by heart. In later years, she appreciated a wheelchair ride out in the garden around Mount St. Francis Center. With grace, Sister Verna lived with the extreme diminishment of her sense of hearing, and yet she participated in every Clare House activity she possibly could, lighting up the room with her signature smile. Thank you, Verna, for your love and smile that we now carry with us. As Verna loved to sing, let us join our voices in singing. Sing a new song, number 550, verses 1 and 2. 550, verses 1 and 2. reading of Psalm 90 adapted. O Lord, you have always been our home. Before you created the hills or brought the world into being, you were eternally God and will be God forever. Teach us how short our life is, so that we may become wise. Fill us each morning with your constant love, so that we may sing and be glad all our life. Grant us as much happiness now as the sadness we felt during all our lives. Let us, your servants, see your mighty deeds. Let those who come after us see your glorious might. Lord our God, may your blessings be with us. Now is our time to share memories of Sister Verna. I invite you to raise your hand and a microphone will be brought to you. Please state your name and stand if you are comfortable.
I am Ruth Ellsberg, and I have a message from Theodore, the brother and the baby of the family. My first memories of you, Verna, were those long trips in the car on Highway 3 from Granville to Dubuque in the early 60s to visit you. Sometimes it was hot with no air conditioning. Then trips to your other stops in Iowa. You and your Franciscan sisters followed me through my years at St. Joseph's, Spalding, and Briar Cliff. Later, my wife Elaine and boys Bill and Tom enjoyed visiting you at Mount St. Francis. I hope you still follow us.
I'm Sister Mary Claire. Sister mentioned that she loved to travel. Well, she found a great travel mate with Sister Jonice Stable. And Jonice was in our office, and the two of them would plan which bus trip they were going to take because they would get gifts from their families. So every year they had a different place to go on those, 3 or 4 short bus trips.
I'm Sister Frances Naspish. I have a message here from Deborah Urban, a niece. Sister Verna was my aunt. She was one of my mom's older sisters. One of my favorite memories of her is sitting next to her and watching her play the piano at another aunt and uncle's house, Claire, and Ivan. I could listen to her play for a long time. Her music was wonderful.
I'm Sister Bertha Cruzy. This message comes from Elaine, Brother Ted's wife. Sister Verna worked at Briarcliff for several years, and when Grandma Gaul moved to Sioux City, we got to be with Sister Verna for lots of occasions. I remember one trip to Sioux City when Sister Verna invited us to the convent after Mass for pancake breakfast. Our oldest son, Bill, had begun piano lessons, and he entertained the sisters with a couple recital selections. They seemed impressed. Afterwards, we went sledding down the big hill. How the boys loved that. Verna was quite a seamstress. She made many little outfits for mission children. When Grandma Gaul died, we gifted her sewing machine to Verna. Over the years, we take our boys, Bill and Tom, to visit Sister Verna in Dubuque. On one trip, we took her to the boat and had supper on the river. Our last visit was in May of this year and was sort of sad. Verna could not remember us or even the old photos. She did enjoy the chocolates we took for her, and we knew she was being well cared for. Sister Verna, we love you.
I'm Sister Charlotte Enright. This is from Kathy Hopkins, a sister of Verna's. I remember the time we were both living in Sioux City, Verna at Briarcliff and I in my home. I was making a dress for some special occasion and was having issues with it. I called Verna to ask what I needed to do. Well, she came down and resolved my issue and finished the dress in less than an hour. And it was perfect. And I still have it. She was a wonderful seamstress and so gracious to save my day.
I'm Sister Rita Green, and this message is from Brother Stephen Markham, a former student. I was in Sister Verna's first full-time classroom when I was in grade 5. She was a music teacher prior to that. She was an excellent teacher. I remember my mother commenting a few months after she came to Rickardsville, that new sister choir director has done wonders with the choir. May she rest in peace.
I'm Sister Mary Lou. When I was at Cascade, Sister Verna was living there. I had previously had half a training for learning how to drive a car. And so Verna finished training me and helped me get my license. Also, in 1992, 4 of us went to Washington, D.C. We were going to give service for a week so others might eat some. But before that, we were going to have a week of sightseeing. Verna's brother, Peter, moved out of his townhouse so we could stay there for the week. It was really a great time.
I'm Sister Bertha Bonert, and I lived with Verna at Cascade. She was a 6th grade teacher there. Very simple, very gracious about everything. And she decided when she was going to call it quits for teaching, she would go into the program at St. Cloud. I think this was her idea of a sabbatical. So those of us living at Cascade went with her. We said, we have to check out this program before we let you go. So she went and she had taken all of the tests. And when she got finished, the person who gave her the testing said, "What are you coming here for?" She said, "I just thought I'd appreciate a change of pace." I think it was her idea. And I always felt when she was here, she always had a way of making sure she'd keep me in place. I would make a very nice announcement in the household, and when I got finished, she'd look at me and say, "I never heard a thing you said." So then she would get a personal message in her ear, but she always wanted to know what was going on. So she was a great person to live with.
I'm Sister Tekla Kane. I did live with Verna at St. Cloud also 1 year. But the incident that I'm going to tell you was I was visiting my sister in Sioux Falls about 6 years ago, and all of a sudden in the paper, in the obituaries, we saw that Kathy, Berta's sister, Kathy Gaul, had died. She lived about 15 miles or so outside of Sioux Falls. Well, I knew, I had just left here, I knew that Verna couldn't come to the funeral, so I waited for the family to come, and I told them that I was from the same order and that I knew that Verna couldn't come, but I just wanted them to know that I was there. Well, they wanted me to walk in the procession and everything. I felt very welcome. And when I came back, I told Verna that that's what happened. She was so happy to know that I had attended that funeral. Kathy had been in our order for a little while, I think, many years ago.
I'm Sister Lila Hellman, and Verna definitely was a seamstress, and she liked to make new clothes, but she also took in mending. You should have seen the jeans and the overalls that she had to patch. In those days, in the 1980s, that was a good deal for a lot of people. But I wonder today if that would be a lost art.
I'm Sister Margie Feldner, and I lived with Verna at Cascade also. We decided that we wanted to get out and see the countryside, so we bought 2 bikes. We biked to Temple Hill, to Monticello, Cascade. I still have the bike, but I don't do much biking. And the other thing that I remember about her, she cooked a squirrel for us. I have never had squirrel, and I don't think I ever want to again.
Verna and I did much traveling together. One place we went was the same place. I thought it was interesting that her brother worked for the Pentagon, and he had nerve enough to invite 4 sisters in to his home when he was a bachelor. But he would disappear when it was a time to do so. We also went to Elder Hostel. That's probably where we started. But we never left unless we had 4 in the car. 4 people, because we thought then we'd be worth it. Bertha, she would say, Verna, I'll take care of the money. Because if you went to places a long distance away, you needed help with gas money. We went on common adventure 5 different times together. San Antonio, South Dakota, Jersey City, wherever they needed somebody. But we always went 4 in the car. That was also means of money. But the very last one I made, and I think you would remember, Carol, we didn't have any prep, and the 2 ladies weren't so ready, so that one didn't go as well as all the others I had been to. And let's see, she went to New York with us to go for, oh geez. Can't see the name of the place where all the governments meet. the United Nations. We had many good trips, but she would always take care of the money, and we'd always see that we had a filled car. She would drive out in the country. Oh, gotta tell you, we went to New Mexico. She would drive in the country, and McAllister would drive in the country. I don't remember who the other one was, but try to find that on the East Coast. So we went way south. They said that's a better, got on a truck road. And I tell you, it was an interesting drive. I was so tired by the time we got to our destination. But we got there and had a good time when we got there.
I'm Liz Donahue, and I was on 4 of the elder hostels that Mary didn't tell you about. We went to New Hampshire, New Mexico, Clinton, and Kentucky, and the best one was Kentucky. Thomas Burton, we saw all about him and his cabin, and we were all really enthralled with that trip.
Sister Verna is a distant relative. I'm not sure if it's third cousin once removed or third cousin. I remember relatives from western Iowa coming to visit at the Gaul farm, the homestead, because my grandmother lived there. I always remembered the hospitality that Mom and Dad exchanged, but also the western Iowa crew when they came to eastern Iowa. There was a camaraderie that I cannot put into words. Now, I must say I did not know Sister Verna at all when I was young sister. I really started to get to know her when she was here at Clare House. However, she had a hard time hearing, but I would sit and visit a little bit with her. Always sent a little card, most recently for her birthday and Christmas. I just want to say that her brother, her youngest brother, Theodore, or Ted, we got connected again because of Sister Lois, Erfelgien's sister. And it was fun to getting to know more of the family. And I saw Ted and Elaine in May. They looked me up because they saw my name signed out there on the desk. And their 2 children, Bill and Tom, wonderful people. And it just makes me think this is the Gaul heritage when you can share from eastern Iowa and western Iowa and join the wonderful community here in Dubuque, the Dubuque Franciscans. So they really do know your love for one another here. Ted and Elaine are so grateful. And here's my little pride, is that Ted's son was on the Iowa Hawkeyes football team. He was a good player. So, Verna, thank you for the many memories as I hear about your life and knowing that a lot of the Gaul tradition is there.
Thank you for sharing your memories of Sister Verna. We will certainly continue our sharing in days to come. Gracious God, our hope is in you. We trust that you are now welcoming Sister Verna into your song of everlasting love. May we continue to journey close with you in humility and gratitude for your abundant goodness to us always. We pray this through the Spirit and with the love of Christ. Our closing song will be Sing a New Song, number 550. Verse 3.